Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of 1999 Sucked. Now, when I started this series, this was the one show that I wanted to review more than any other show that I've done so far in this series. A word of caution before I go on, and that is that because I want to save a bit of time, I have recorded 4 episodes of 10 years ago to be broadcast in October and November, yeah? And if I talk about worst matches or worst shows or things like that, bear in mind they were pre-recorded. They were basically, I watched the show and I decided to review it while it was fresh in my mind, yeah, and then watch this one. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell by the title, this is Heroes of Wrestling from 1999. Attendance 2,300 people. The buy rate from this one, I don't know what the actual buy rate was, but I do know that 29,000 poor souls bought this show. Your hosts are Dutch Mantel and Randy Rosenblum, and no, I don't know who that is either. Gordon Soley was advertised on this show to the point where he was advertised on the pre-show. Was he there? Was he? Bollocks, we got some angles to set up this show, and then let's get on with it. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go on, this is world renowned as the worst wrestling show of all time. Bear that in mind. Please bear that in mind, and please pray and pray again for my poor, damaged, broken soul. Okay, let's get on with this. So, the Samoan Swat team, which is the Tonga Kid, I'm sure you remember him, and Samu, or Fatu as he was back then, defeated Marty Dinetti and Tommy Rogers in a truly crap opener. The ring announcer sets things off nicely. He says, somebody's going to get their ass kicked tonight. Lovely with that. Can't go wrong with that one, can you? The Samoan SWAT team are managed by some guy. Long stalling session at the start. Dinetti hits a drop kick, which looks like it wasn't meant to happen, as Rogers was also going for a clothesline, which is a lovely, nice way to start it. They do some stalling, more stalling, and then more stalling. Faces work the arm to absolute silence. Chinlock by Dinetti, who then plays the face in peril. Including hitting with Fatu, or Samu, whichever one you are calling this, hits Dinetti with a chair, which Randy Rosenblum calls unethical. Never heard of that one before. Chair shot has been vile and ugly, nasty. Unethical? Come on. Anyway, Rogers gets a hot tag, hits a drop kick, which Randy calls a flying leg kick like a complete idiot. He has a dual DDT, which, honest to God, is the nicest moment in this match. Dinetti hits a plancher, and a nice TKO gets the win for the Samoan SWAT team, which incidentally Randy called it a Samoan drop. Now, this was a quarter of a star match. You know, yay. So, after that, Greg the Hammer Valentine defeated George Steele in an awful match, and this one, ladies and gentlemen, is the first of many minus star ratings for tonight. So, Greg comes out to literally no reaction. He cuts a promo and gets no reaction at all. Basically, there's a ludicrous amount of stalling at the start. Ludicrous. Greg puts George's t-shirt over his head and starts pummeling him. And then, Sherry Martel, who's out with Greg, with George Daniel Steele, batters him. But of course, George has got his t-shirt over his head, so he doesn't tell. Steele gets a fork and uses it, and then gives it to Sherry, who, remember, came out with George. Bear that in mind. Who then gives it to Greg. So George, he takes his t-shirt off, uses the fork, gives it to Sherry, who gives it to Greg, who then uses it on George. Yeah? They do a fuckload more stalling, and then Sherry hits George with a chair so that Greg can get the win. Fantastic. The booking of that makes so little sense. You'd think that PS2 fucking Peter had fucking booked this shit. Why didn't Sherry just come out with Greg and be a heel? I don't understand it why she comes out with George. I just don't understand it at all. -2 stars. So bad it is freaking scary. Then, Too Cold Scorpio defeated Julio Fantastico in a terrible match. On paper, this one should be at least okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have zero clue who Julio Fantastico is and why he's all of a sudden a hero of wrestling. Also in this match, ladies and gentlemen, Too Cold Scorpio comes out with a fake WCW title, and I don't know why, and the announcers don't explain why. So I assume you've just got to accept it. He's coming out with a WCW title. Just deal with it, right? Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Anyway, okay wrestling to star. It's one of those ones where it's one good move, yeah, but two moves that are bad or sloppy or look too horrible or punches that don't connect, sort of thing, you know. Scorpio with a splash to the outside. Julio then tries to do one of his own and completely botches it. Backdrop into the crowd, but the cameras are too busy focusing on the fans. Back in the ring, Scorpio hits a springboard splash for 2. Julio hits a terrible facebuster for 2. Randy calls a drop kick, a spinning toe kick. A crap-looking tumbleweed gets the win for Scorpio, even though one of Julio's shoulders are clearly off the mat. Now, the only thing I can think of for that explanation is they plan to do more of these pay-per-views, and they were going to do this match again, and they were going to use that moment there as, look, you didn't beat me, look, my shoulder was up, we're having a rematch. That's the only reason I can think of. I am a generous soul. You know that by now. You know by watching this series that I'm a generous guy. Half a star. Yes! King Kong Bundy puts a promo where he shouts a lot and says he will get the win with the Avalanche and a 5 count in his match with Yokozuna. So then the Bushwhackers, or the artists formerly known as the Bushwhackers, defeated the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov in a woeful match. Another -1 this one. Volkov sings the Russian national anthem, Yawn, and the Iron Sheik demonstrates Iranian clubs, which is an impressive feat, but I've seen it millions of times, so don't actually care. Oh, and he cuts a promo telling the fans to stop chanting USA with predictable results. Oh, yes. Majorly stalling at the start. The heel punches are the worst I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, Mr. Insano punches are better than this. These punches have got at least that much gap between fist and face. Terrible. Just terrible. Back to stalling as the heels bail. The Sheik threatens to leave inside, and I mean eventually, and I really mean it takes them forever to get back in the ring. Volkov chokes Luke and lays in the worst boot I've literally ever seen. He literally is just going meh, meh. It's like he's dead. It's like he's trying desperately not to hurt him instead of making them look vicious. You know. Sheik hits a few moves and stalls, as does Volkov, who hits a terrible backbreaker. Camel clutch, Butch hits a hot tag, and then there's heel miscommunication for the win for Butch. Oh dear me, the Bush. Oh, I don't actually care. Let's just go on to another one. -3 stars, just awful, just plain terrible. Having someone like me, Volkov and Sheik can barely move between them. Why have these two on the pay-per-view? I just do not understand at all. This match was so very bad. Tully Blanchard defeated Stan Lane in a crap match. Oh dear me. Tully had hit. Tully had cut a pretty good promo before this one. Gotta give that one through. And seriously, if you're going to watch this, don't believe me, the link to this show is down there. It's on YouTube in its entirety. I challenge each and every one of you watching this to go and watch it. See if you can watch it all in one sitting. I couldn't do it. It took me 3 sittings to watch the 25 parts of this. Oh yes, go and cut his promo. Go and watch his promo. Then watch this match for one reason. Watch Stan Lane. Watch Stan Lane, because I tell you something, Ken Anderson, or Ken Kennedy, whatever you want to call him, yeah, his gimmick is fucking inspired by Stan Lane. Stan Lane, he does his own intro, and it's fucking brilliant. It really is. Anyway, Tully controls at the start, but then gets posted. He doesn't blade, a bit of a. Anyway, Lane then controls with a neck breaker for 2 and a Cobra clutch. They cut to 2 girls in the crowd, right? They keep doing this throughout the show. They keep cutting to the crowd, like they're looking at the crowd reaction. And these 2 girls look so bored. It's unbelievable. The first one especially just looks at a complete blank look on her face. She's not excited. She's not pissed off. It's blank. Completely blank face. Oh, yes. Dutch says they are mesmerised. But no, they're just bored. After some awful stuff from both men, Tully gets a figure 4 on the outside and a sleeper hold Lane. Stupid ass ending as Lane hits a belly to back suplex, but Tully lifts the they're both down on the mat. Tully lifts the shoulder up to get so he gets the 3, and you're just like, awful match, awful booking. Don't understand why they had to do that finish in the slightest. Nothing good in this match at all. It's a complete dud. And I could go less than that happily. You know, one man gang versus Abdullah the Butcher, right? Let me tell you about this. This one went to a no contest. If any of you have ever watched one of my vids and you have heard me say about blatantly blading on camera, yeah? If you've heard me say about blading on camera and then you blades on camera. If you've heard me say that and go, what the fuck's he on about, right? Go and watch this match because you'll see Abdullah the Butcher doing this and this and this so many times. It's unbelievable. It really is. He just makes no effort at all to conceal the fact that he's doing a blade job. Oh yes, he doesn't. One Man Gang, by the way, is wearing a Join the Chain Gang shirt, which means that John Cena really did rip that off years later, didn't he? Gang is about as subtle with his blade as Abdullah. There is no wrestling in this match whatsoever. It's just crap stalling, weapon shots, and blood. Lots of blood. If you want to see blood, you'll probably love it. I don't care about this match in the slightest. But then, right, the referee, in one of those things that just baffles me, because things like this baffle me, right? The referee lets them do all the weapons, but makes them break up when they're in the ropes, gives them 5 counts, and then, after all those weapon shots and chain shots, chair shots, blood everywhere, he counts them out. Is this protecting them? Is this making sure that both of them look strong? I don't know, but it's meant to be a one-shot deal, bear in mind. Why count them out? It don't make any sense. It's ludicrous. It's -2 stars. Jimmy Snuka then defeated Cowboy Bob Orton in a match. Probably the best match of the night, which is saying a lot. Apparently Captain Lou Albano is now the commissioner. Excuse me, the announcers just say that out of the blue. So, whether he is or not it's true, I don't know. Snuka gets a quick 2 off a crossbody, but Orton then takes control with a suplex, a body slam, and the world's longest armbar. Now, what I mean by this is singly the longest armbar I've ever seen, and literally lasts for 4 minutes of an 11-minute long match. 4 minutes are taken up by Orton holding this armbar on, and then working the arm a bit longer, just because he can. The fans chant various things at Bob Orton, the culmination of which is, and this is their words, not mine. I don't like using this word, so bear in mind, this is their words, not mine. Bob is a faggot, chanting with great passion. Probably the loudest the crowd have been all night at Bob Orton, which is lovely. Snuka makes a comeback with headbutts and a chop, and they do a double 2KO, where Bob gets 2, Snuka goes up top, Orton follows, he looks like he's going to go for a superplex, but Captain Lou Albano, who has just been out with Snuka, to be honest, grabs hold of the ankles, Snuka hits a cross body for the win. What, half, 3/4 of a star, if you're nice, like I am? Scott Keith gave it a 1.25 stars, damn. Anyway, next, a bit I'm sure you've all heard of. Jake the Snake Roberts cut to promo. Now, what I could do is I could tell you verbatim how the promo goes. But of course, remember that Jake the Snake Roberts was off his fucking face at this point. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm a nice guy. I'm going to let you hear it yourself. This, ladies and gentlemen, is from the night. Thank you very much to Matthew of Botchamania fame, because he uploaded this show, and I'm sure he has no objection to me showing you this. Take a look at this. This is the promo.
Thank you, gentlemen. Back here I have a man of legendary proportions, the man Jake the Snake Roberts. He is a man that you all recognize. He's a legend. Come on, Jake, get on in here. The Bucks want to hear from you.
Hello, you're a casino, and everybody says, well, gosh, a casino, you should gamble. Let me tell you something, Ramble. You don't want to play cards with me because I'll cheat. Okay? I cheat. You want to play 21? I got 22. You don't play blackjack? I got 2 of those too. You don't play ace and an ace? Maybe I got too many of those too. Would you not gamble with me? The only thing you should gamble is this. Listen to me. When you walk in a casino and you want to gamble, The main thing is, you should realize this. To gamble, you must accept losing. I don't accept losing. And neither is Damien. Damien, my friend. My friend Damien is right here. Damien?
Yeah, he just stuck his head out of it.
Nice pile of strength, huh?
Oh.
You don't want to see this, do you?
Well, I
Let me
know.
show you something.
Yeah,
Let me show you something. No, I tell you what, Anvil. Go ahead, Anvil. Roll the dice. Mr. Cameraman, get your ass back up here. Hello? I'm talking to you. Get the camera back up here. That is not what you need to worry about, Anvil. The bottom line is this. When the DDT comes, then the snake comes out. Worry about the DDT. 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 Think of that.
A man of his word, Jake the Snake Roberts. Back to ringside.
I'll tell you what, half of that was coherent if you're lucky. The guy, who I don't know who the guy is doing the interview, and he's been doing interviews all night, I have no idea who he is. He looks genuinely scared, doesn't he, the fact that Jake's using him to prop himself up. But anyway, so that leads into the main event, and I say it's the main event, it shouldn't actually be the main event. The main event is meant to be King Kong Bundy versus Yokozuna. That's meant to be the advertised main event, but because of what happens, this becomes the main event. So it's meant to be Jake the Snake Roberts taking on Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Anvil comes out first, Jake then comes out, he dumps Damien, the snake, who's in a bag in the ring, and then stumbles backstage, takes his top off, and then staggers back out again. He gets a fat girl to rub his chest for him. He finally gets in the ring. Him and Jim, they lock up. And I say lock up, it's more like Jim is having to hold up Jake, who then, struggles about and that. Basically, they do some awful wrestling. I mean, awful. Like, it looks like Jake goes to the DDT at one point and just falls on his back, sort of thing. But basically, Bundy. I'm getting ahead of myself because the worst bit of the match is where the snake escapes from the bag. Yeah, so Jake puts it between his legs and starts pretending to masturbate the snake. So like the snake's head is where his cock will be. Now bear in mind that there are women and children in this fucking audience. It baffles me that Jake has ever been allowed to wrestle ever again after this. Truly disgraceful performance. And it's not even, I suppose you could see the funny side of it, but I don't at all. I just think, look, there's kids, don't do that. And don't turn up for a show completely hammered. Ladies and gentlemen, kids, just say no to fucking drugs, man. This is the advert. This is the don't do fucking drugs. Your life will get messed up and you'll look like this guy sort of advert. Anyway, basically Bundy gets in to make it 2-on-1. Jim puts on the world's longest sleeper. Basically, Yokozuna makes the save, and it's now turned into a tag match. Some guy comes out, looks like mini fucking Bundy, to the point where the commentators say so. You can see him whispering to the heels, what the new finish is going to be, but it all just goes to hell. Anvil bashes Jake with a few chair shots, and Jake can barely stand, to the point where when they get back in the ring, he sort of holds onto the ropes and sways, and then just face plants to the ground. And one of those, dear God, he looks like he passed out. He's that fucked, Jake plays the face in peril. Anvil tries to put on a sort of ankle lock or a submission move on Jake's foot, and his boot comes off because Jake's so fucked they didn't even bother to tie his bootlace up. That's funny, I suppose. Anyway, eventually, Jake gets the hot tag to Yokozuna, but Bundy splashes Jake and pins him, even though that Yoko's the legal man. It's just, oh fuck it, let's just end this mess, let's just get out of it. The fans boo, and then the guy, whoever he is, the one who came out with the heels, gets Samoan dropped, which incidentally is the single best wrestling move in this entire match. And then, I'm sure there's more meant to be coming. There's 15 minutes of airtime left from this show, but it just fades to black. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Heroes of Wrestling. Truly, the worst show I've ever seen in my entire life. I've been watching wrestling for so very, very long, and nothing has come close to this. I mean, but it's hard to put into context, because if you want to give it a rating out of 10, it would be a 0. But bear in mind that I've given WCW shows 1 out of 10, and they have been infinitely better than this. They have been so much better than this. You know, like, ridiculously better than this. So, I mean, out of 10, I swear to God, this is -3. That is what I'm going to go with. -3. That way, Starcade 99, which I gave 1 out of 10 didn't, or something like that, looks like fucking WrestleMania 17 compared to this. This was horrific. Here is my challenge to every single one of you who can hear my voice right now. There is a link there to part 1. Here is my challenge. Go and watch parts 1 through 25. If you can do that, come and let me know and tell me how the fuck you managed it. I watched parts 1 to 10 in one sitting, and then had to go away for a couple of days and sit in a dark fucking corner. I then watched parts 11 to 18, and then had to give up again, and then I watched the rest tonight. I plan on never, ever watching this show ever again. If people even want to talk about it, I'm going to go, no, never, I've never seen that. Or, sorry, I don't want to talk about it. Awful. Just horrifically bad. Heroes of Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen it, please go and do it, just so that you can say that you have. Just so that you can say to your kids, if you're bringing them up as wrestling fans, yeah, if your children like wrestling fans, like wrestling, and you can say to them, kids, I saw Heroes of Wrestling. Your kids will just look and go, ooh, you know? It's that bad. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Mark P. Hit that subscribe button, and please, for the love of God, hit a comment. I did this for you. I did this for the people. Oh, yes. I've been Mark P, and this has been 1999 Such. Take it easy.